This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first guest today is Adam Pohl, who is the Executive Director of the Alpena Area Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning, Nancy. Thanks again for having me.
Thanks for being here, and thanks for following the COVID, quarantine, self-distancing rules, all of those rules. I really appreciate it. It's the way of the world now. We all have to do it, and I know it adds another little element, and I really appreciate it.
Certainly, no problem. Obviously, we want to make sure that we operate in a safe environment. We're doing it at the Chamber as well, so
Perfect.
It's just one of those things. Everyone needs to take that extra few steps or precautions. So.
And as we talked before we started taping, you picked a wonderful year to start a brand new position.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's been quite an adventure. I started, my first day on the job was from my bedroom, and obviously things have been different than usual, but we persevere, and we're having fun, so hopefully helping out a lot of people through the process.
Having been a volunteer for the Chamber for probably the past over 30 years in different capacities, I was a board member for 4 years, very involved. I know how important a Chamber is to a community in normal times when you're out and you're busy and all the stuff you can do and your contacts and your people. So how is it business as usual during COVID?
Well, it's certainly not business as usual during COVID as far as what you mentioned for a lot of our volunteer experiences, and a lot of the activities that we usually do, at least the public activities, have been either very difficult to do this year or have been done online, and thanks to COVID. So it has been a shift from our usual routine. We've had to do a lot of different changes to work with the COVID scenario. We had to have a drive-through parade this year, for instance. And
that was very popular. I happened to drive by the fairgrounds by mistake, and oh my goodness, were there the people there.
Oh yes, my Alicia did a great job putting that together along with help from the county. Everybody was so positive and just helping us out do that safely and make sure that there wasn't any problems whatsoever. So I thought it was a great job.
Yes. So you did the parade, so I know you have a grant that you talked about earlier.
Yes, so we've had a couple of different grants over the previous year for COVID relief for small business, and we have another one coming up. So the governor set aside $55 million for the whole state. Of that, our 5-county area is going to get we estimate around $2 million for small business assistance, up to $20,000 grants. Obviously, it's still probably not enough, but we have that coming up, so we would encourage anybody to log on to our website, alpenachamber.com. We'll have more information as that becomes available. Obviously, we don't have all the details yet, but I would imagine within the next week or two, we'll have a lot more.
Do you have to be a Chamber member to apply for that?
You do not have to be a Chamber member. Any small business with, I believe, 50 or fewer employees is eligible. There are some other caveats as well, and again, that can be found on the website, or at least will be when we get it on there.
And speaking about Chamber membership, Adam, very, very important. It's where everybody comes together and where we have more power and all the things we can do. And the memberships are what support the Chamber in all of their efforts.
Absolutely. Our membership consists of about half our budget, so in that regard, and we're here really to benefit the community in any way, shape, form possible. Whether that's this year we obviously pivoted. We're helping administer these small business grants, among other things. We also, one of our main themes is economic development, really trying to make the business, really trying to help the business community here in Alpena, in the area, really be able to thrive. We also advocate for our business members and as well, and really try to also give them exposure opportunities, which, this year has been online. It's a little different this year, but we're hoping to get back to normal as soon as possible.
And we know we're not alone. It's the same for every Chamber of Commerce in Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really great getting to hear some of these other chambers, how they're pivoting and really bounce ideas off them, and everyone's adjusting, and I think we're doing everything we can. And again, our main goal is to help our community and our businesses in the area, and just set us up for as much success as possible.
So Adam, if someone's interested in becoming a Chamber member, what do they do?
Absolutely. Well, again, I'm going to reference our website. That's the easiest thing. They can also just give our offices a call, but alpenachamber.com, there's some information on membership there. We have over 500 members at the moment, but we want to be able to help everybody and do our best for the community. So we definitely would encourage businesses to join, become members, and again, the way to do that is on our website.
And one of the most popular events for the Chamber of Commerce is the annual dinner meeting. Always sells out, always fantastic, always wonderful. So this year it's been delayed.
It has. Right now with the restrictions, we usually do that in February.
Okay.
We've delayed it to March for the moment, the end of March.
Okay.
Realistically, that might be delayed again, but we really are set on having the annual dinner. It's exceedingly popular. Last year, I think we had over close to 800 people, if not more.
I know.
So it's a lot of fun and a great networking event, and really great to recognize very important members of our community.
And another wonderful event that I'm involved in, I'm on the committee, is Good Morning Alpena or Good Midday Alpena. Those are wonderful events, networking opportunities for chamber members, for just people in the community with great topics. When do you think we'll be able to start holding those again?
You know, as the vaccine gets rolled out and that kind of thing, it just depends on how quickly they do that. But obviously, we want to be able to do them safely, so we're following the recommendations from the state, from the health department. So we were able to have one in the fall, but hopefully we'll be able to have, we're going to reevaluate that going into the second quarter of next year.
Okay.
So hopefully around March or April we'll have a lot more information about when we
Yay,
can
we'll
do
keep
those.
our fingers crossed that that can really happen.
Absolutely, yeah, fingers crossed. So.
And now, are your doors open at the chamber, Adam?
Yes, our doors are open. We do have minimal staffing at the moment in the office, so we're just trying to go make sure that we operate as safe as possible, but we are there and we are doing our functions, and the rest of us that aren't there are operating from home, so we are still working very hard to get these different programs rolled out and to advocate for our members as well.
And what about the e-notes that you send out? How do people get signed up for those? Because I find those very beneficial.
Absolutely. All you need to do is become a member.
Okay.
If you're a member of the chamber, basically those e-notes, they combine a lot of just not only announcements, but a lot of educational opportunities.
They do.
That's an area where we're really able to reach out on a weekly basis and just try to give maximum value to our members.
Okay. And I know your number is 354-4181.
Yep.
So they can call, they can go on your website, stop in if you need more information. The chamber is a great resource if you're looking for just about anything to do with Alpena and the surrounding area.
Absolutely, and even if you're not a member and you just have a question, we within our membership we probably have a business that can answer that question. So in that regard, we just try to help point people, and within our membership we have a lot of expertise. So we take calls from anybody, and we'll direct you to someone that can help.
And I'm really excited to hear more about that grant. Thank you so much for putting the time and effort that I'm sure was involved in getting that. That's pretty wonderful.
No problem. My economic development director, Mike Mahler, is the guy that puts a lot of work into that, but we try to assist him wherever humanly possible and just try to get that that funding to the small businesses as soon as possible.
Okay, we're out of time. I want to thank you so much, Adam, and Happy New Year to you, your staff, and your family.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Happy New Year to you as well. And again, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here.
Awesome.
I'll be right back with some ladies from Hope Shores Alliance following these messages. Hi, welcome back. I'm here with two friends from Hope Shores Alliance. I have Meg Nesbitt and Natalie Francis. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. It's nice to be here.
Nice to have both of you here, and thank you so much for following all the COVID protocols. It's very important to us here at the station that we keep everyone safe.
Absolutely.
And we as well at Hope Shores. We have all of our offices are all COVID safe.
Perfect. Let's start with an overview of the agency, Meg.
Sure. We've been around 30 years?
About 30 years,
About
yes.
30 years now, and we are a source of support for those who've experienced domestic violence and sexual assault, and stalking and dating violence. And we have a ton of programs to help people. We have advocates who do court accompaniment to help write personal protection orders, to help with specific assistance because each survivor is different. We have our admin office where we accept donations for our thrift store up in Rogers City, Seconds on 3rd. We have an amazing volunteer program that Natalie runs. You can talk about that.
Yeah, up at our thrift store, we rely mostly on volunteers. We only have 2 staff up at the store. One is our store manager, and then we have a retail sales clerk as well. So we have all volunteers up there. And then we also have volunteers in our other offices as well, at our emergency shelter, which is manned by volunteers in the front answering our 24/7 crisis line. which is a very important resource for survivors and anyone else that wants to reach out as well. So, and that's a very busy phone line, and again, open to be called 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
You know, I just want to add that the volunteers are very well trained. You have a very comprehensive training program, so if someone out there saying, oh, I'd like to do that, but I'd be afraid. Don't be afraid, because you're going to get some really good training.
Yes, there is, any time that volunteers are interacting with survivors, they go through a very, like you said, very comprehensive training program. Any questions they may have are asked. They are never asked to do anything they're not comfortable with. So, and you know, again, teaching and growing through that program.
Okay, and just really important that people support the thrift store by, you know, making sure they drop off donations, and it's a wonderful place to shop.
Yeah, it's the place to be in Rogers City for sure.
It certainly is. I've been there many times. Okay, Meg, January is Stalking Awareness Month.
It is. Stalking is another crime against another person. It is crime in all 50 states. About a third of the states, the second offense is a felony. And what is stalking? Stalking is any activity that's directed at a person where a reasonable person would then feel fear. And that is done through a number and variety of ways that people are stalked: GPS, text, email, phone calls, following someone, so that the person that is experiencing the stalking never knows what's going to happen next.
And you know, I know we've talked about this before, but knowing how it feels to be so frightened all the time, and is, you know, what's going to happen next? Are they there? Are they going to call me? Are they going to show up where I am? You know, I'm so glad that there's a group like Hope Shores Alliance that can walk the walk with them, and so that they're doing the right things, and so that we can stop this behavior.
Yep, and we have a lot of resources for people who are stalked. From our advocacy, I'm one of the counselors. We provide comprehensive counseling for those who are frightened and unsure how to move forward.
Okay, and I know you have your 24-hour line here. It's 1-800-396-9129.
Right, and people can call, and it doesn't matter if it happened yesterday or 50 years ago.
Okay.
You call us, and we are there for you.
Okay, and you have an emergency safe shelter.
Yes.
And how does that work?
Basically, you're going to call the line, or call the admin, or call any of our offices, and you can get connected over to the emergency shelter, and a residential advocate will talk with you, and or one of our outreach and services advocate, or a counselor, whoever you get a hold of it first, and then they will go ahead and get you over to the emergency shelter, and then there's an intake that will be done if you meet criteria for that.
And Natalie, what counties do you serve?
We serve Presque Isle, Montmorency, Iosco, Alcona, and Alpena. So 5 counties.
Okay,
over 3,000 square miles.
Okay, and people think, oh, well, none of these things occur in my neighborhood or in my town, but that's the wrong answer.
Definitely, yes, it is. A lot of people think because it's a small community or whatever, things don't happen, but they do. And one of the problems or issues that we have found is because it's a small community, there's a lot of isolation, especially with COVID.
Right.
We're seeing that, you know, our phone calls had dropped quite a bit in the beginning of the pandemic, and we were doing things to reach out to people, to be able for them to get our phone numbers so that they could call. And once we were doing that, getting out on the radio a little bit, getting some stickers out on some boxes at food pantries and things, then we were starting to get some calls. So.
And you know, sexual assault, date rape, domestic violence, all of those things, you know, cover the gambit. There's no race, there's no religion, there's no socioeconomic, you know, there's just nothing. It happens to everyone. So just please don't feel alone. Reach out for the help that's there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
And we are pretty well trained as well, and we do a lot of continuing education, so we are on top of what's happening. We have, the other thing, we have a sexual assault response team and a domestic assault response team in both Alpena and Iosco counties. And so that should an incident occur, you can ask for our presence, or we are dispatched and can go and be with people right after an experience.
Right, and I'm so glad you're bringing awareness to the stalking issue, because I think people think it's a joke at first, it's something funny, maybe it's even flattering or whatever it is, but it happens to men and it happens to women. So it's not right, it should not be allowed to be tolerated. So if you have any questions and you're thinking, hey, I don't know where to go next or what to do, please call Hope Shores Alliance, ask them, you know, what's my step, what do I do, is this stalking? And then they can talk to professionals who will help them through.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think that you're right, Nancy. I think what happens a lot of times is it's gotten to be kind of a joke. Oh, is he stalking you? Oh, he must be stalking you, you know, with social media and things. And it isn't a joke. It's a very scary, and, you know, many people are very scared because of it, and it can go on for years.
And it can be a family member, it can be a friend, it can be a former boyfriend, a current boyfriend.
Right, yeah.
I mean, it can be a stranger. You never know what's going to trigger something.
Exactly.
That's right.
So, yeah, be safe.
Yep, and most stalkers have stalked before. And it can escalate just like domestic violence can escalate.
Okay.
And so, you know, one weird text, it might be a phone call the next time, it might be approaching you this next time.
Okay, we're out of time. I want to thank both of you very much for being here. I know it flew by swiftly. Happy New Year to all of you, and thank you so much for keeping the agency up and running during these tough times. It means a lot to our community.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Nancy.
Happy New
Thank
Year.
you. Happy New Year to you.
And you.
Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster, president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning Dr. Nick Brege, facilities director at ACC. Welcome, Nick.
Hi, good morning, Don. How are you?
Wonderful.
Great.
Did you have a good Christmas?
Yeah, it was.
So you and I and many other folks have been hard at work for quite a long time on our Van Laer Hall renovation project, and it is really coming together nicely. You have been the point person really for the details of construction and working with Spence Brothers and the architects. What's your sense for what are you seeing and how do you feel about it?
I feel great. I mean, the vision is finally starting to become a reality. All those two-dimensional prints that we've been working on for so long are becoming a three-dimensional reality right now. The project, I guess I'll start with kind of explaining how it's phased and where we're at in the timeline.
Sure.
But this is a phased project where we have basically 3 different areas in the building. The area A, B, and C. Area A being the east wing, area B being the kind of the center building from including the main entrance to the east, and then area C being everything to the west of the main entrance.
C would be where administration is, B would be where nursing is going to go.
Yes, and A is also the primary space for the nursing labs.
That's right.
So, so while we were working on the first phase was A and B, and we had to build a temporary partition so that C could remain occupied with all the administrative staff and the business functions, financial aid, admissions, all those important people. And then we worked on areas A and B while C is occupied. So right now, area A is very close. We're getting some finishes in there. There's paint going on the drywall. There's ceiling grid going up. There's lighting there. There's heat. So it's starting to feel like a finished space.
The heat was a key part.
And
an expensive part for the entire building.
You're right. Yeah, that HVAC system in the building was mostly original to the 1957 construction, and it needed to be updated. And by updating it, we were able to put more efficient boilers in there. So we'll see some energy savings. We were also able to air condition the space. By putting rooftop units in, modern rooftop units. So there's going to be some comfort and energy upgrades to the building because of those HVAC upgrades. So area A, where the nursing wing is, has the heat on, and we're going to get some flooring in hopefully soon, and that will be, then we'll move on to millwork, cabinetry, all that sort of thing. But it's starting to become kind of almost an occupiable space, it feels like anyway. And then in area B, there's There's steel studs all the way up. There's a lot of the drywall is already installed. We've got windows throughout the building. That was a major milestone to close in the outside.
The windows add a lot.
They do. It was worth the wait, I want to say, but that was one area where there was a delay.
Yes.
Was getting the windows delivered. So it was, I guess if that was the worst delay that happens throughout this construction project, that's manageable. But yeah, it would have been nice to get them a little sooner. But now it is closed in, and
Right.
And it's starting to look really amazing, especially in that center portion that overlooks the river and the main entrance coming out towards Johnson Street.
Indeed.
So, so the next step in Area B will be to finish drywall, get paint on, kind of close up all of the electrical items, the lighting, move on to the flooring. So there's a little bit more work left to do in Area B, but by the end of February or early March, we anticipate being able to finish up areas A and B to get them to an occupiable state so that we can move the folks from Area C into that area and then finish construction on Area C.
Very complicated.
Yes.
And I commend you, for your persistence and focus on it. The staging of it makes it much more complicated than just building from the ground up, new construction. I do think there's a fair number of folks in the community who really didn't want to see us bulldoze that legacy building, even though it was not all that great to look at from the outside. But I think it will look much better, and the inside functionality is really, it's so much better than it was. So I think it's a good community investment.
Yeah. We also have sort of a new element to the project.
Yeah, speak to that.
Yeah, there's a lecture hall that's being planned now. It's kind of a separate project, but still ties into the building. There's an area in the front of the building by Johnson Street where there was a nook. It was always covered by shrubbery and trees, so you never really saw it. But once we took the trees out, it was an unfinished block appearance, and it looked as if there was something that belonged there that was missing.
Yeah.
And turns out, as we looked into it a little deeper, there was a punched opening that was planned in that space. It was just filled in with masonry at this point, but it was more or less designed to have an addition built onto it. So through the generosity of some private donors, we've been able to work on a design to build about a 50-person lecture hall in that space. And
that's exciting.
It is. It's something the college can use, and I think even some of the community lectures and some of the groups might be able to utilize that space as well.
Absolutely, and we hope to make it available to the community. You're right, there's a nook or a knuckle or a divot there that's very unattractive. And it looks unfinished, and it is unfinished, but it will have a beautiful lecture hall in there. We hope that corresponds to the college's effort to try and get a bachelor's degree in nursing. This is an uphill climb, and it requires state legislative authority that we're trying to get and have been unable to do so up to this point. But, those two would time beautifully if they were to happen. Nick, we got about a minute left. Anything else you want the folks to know about this project?
Well, while we're working on finishing up these items in Van Laer Hall, we've also got a little bit going on over at Besser Tech, some plans to upgrade the welding and manufacturing departments, kind of relocate the manufacturing department into its own dedicated space and expand welding in its current space to give them a little more room. So you and I have been working on this EDA grant for quite some time, and hopefully that comes to fruition, and we can see that as the next project at ACC.
Very good. So the next time you're on, we'll be talking about that.
Sounds good.
So Nick, thank you for your efforts. They are exemplary. And thank you folks for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town. with your host, Nancy Smitham and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.